Hi everyone, I'm Paul.
And I'm Michelle.
And you're in
The Spooky
Coop.
Welcome to the Spooky Coop. Hope you're not chicken.
And welcome to the Spooky Coop. Here in our high-tech spooky studios, located near the foothills of haunted New Hampshire, we bring you this year's Halloween special about the wickedly haunted Bailey House. This episode is not for the faint of heart or those averse to gruesome goings-on. This is a story of true terror. So get your Halloween candy ready and strap in. Here we go. Hi, I'm Tyler. Since it's Halloween, I thought I would tell you what happened to me last year on Halloween night, when my friends dared me to go into the old abandoned Bailey house. The whole neighborhood knew it was haunted. They said that on Halloween night of 1989, John Bailey, the oldest of 5 children, and his younger brother Stephen, got a shotgun and an axe and killed the rest of the family as they slept. They both believed that on Halloween, the veil between the world of evil and humans was at its thinnest, and they performed a ceremony they read in a book they found that was said to let demons into their bodies that would give them the strength to destroy the family they hated. That night, after the ceremony, they went into the room where their parents slept. First, Stephen with a shotgun he stole from his father's gun cabinet, and then John with an axe he got from camping gear that was in the garage. They say that Stephen shot his father point blank in the head, killing him instantly. When the sound of the shotgun woke their mother, she ran screaming halfway down the hallway before John finished her off with the axe. Then, the story says their sister, Louise, woken up by her mother's screaming, ran out of her bedroom to see what was going on, only to see her brother chopping at their mother's corpse, blood flying in all directions. Louise tried to run, but John grabbed her by the hair and pulled her back. Then Stephen shot her 6 times. They said John stood on her back while watching blood gurgle out of her mouth as Stephen reloaded the shotgun and shot her again to be sure she was dead. After that, in total bloodlust, brought on by the demons inside of him, John creeped into Sharon and Joshua's room. Joshua was only 2 months old. He was sleeping in his crib. Sharon, who was 3, was missing. She had run away. John, with the demon raging within, grabbed the baby who started to cry. The legend says John smothered him with a pillow until he was quiet, then tossed him on the floor and cut his limbs off, then put the pieces back into the crib, like putting together a puzzle. Then he shoved a pacifier in his dead mouth and covered him with a blanket, so when the police finally arrived, they would think his baby brother Joshua was just sleeping, until they pulled the blanket off and got the fright of their lives. John told Stephen that Sharon had run away. Stephen was enraged, and both he and John searched the house for her, calling her name, promising not to hurt her. They found her hiding in the cabinet under the kitchen sink. The story says that both brothers, with the demons, helped drown their little sister in the kitchen sink in the most horrible way. They would take her head out of the water and let her breathe again just before she died, then pushed her back in over and over until she finally died. After that, they cut her into small enough pieces to fit down the garbage disposal. As Stephen turned around to tell John the last bit of their little sister Sharon was gone down the drain, and they were ready to make their getaway, John picked up the shotgun and blasted Stephen in the chest and face. His brother in crime never saw it coming. They say this is why Stephen is the most angry and dangerous ghost in the place, and will kill you if you are unlucky enough to be caught by him. After killing his brother, John turned to run out of the house, hoping to make a clean getaway. But, the legend goes, with the help of the angry spirit of his betrayed brother, he slipped on the blood-soaked floor, tripped over the axe, and hit his head on the corner of the kitchen table. He lay there, bleeding, until the police arrived many hours later, and died before an ambulance got there to save him. It's reported his last words were, "The devil lives in this house. Everyone who comes in here is going to die." Over the years, a bunch of local ghost hunter groups in the area went into the place to see if they could prove it was haunted on Halloween, the anniversary of the murders, and didn't stay very long. They never tried again. I know one guy went in with a group of them on Halloween and came out with scratches all over his back and refused to talk about what happened. Another guy said someone tried to push him down the stairs. His group said they have a recording of a woman screaming, but they never put it online, so I doubt it. Lots of people in the area say they've seen lights on in the house and heard banging and screaming on Halloween night, but I think that's just to keep the kids out. So that's the story of the Bailey House. Last year, in 2023, on a dare, I had to stay the whole of Halloween night from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the Bailey House. If I did, I would get $194. That's the total of the money my friends had come up with to bet on me running out in fear. If I left before 6 a.m., I had to wear a t-shirt to school for a whole week that said chicken shit on it. It was not a big deal. I kind of believed in ghosts, but I really didn't think the Bailey House was any big deal. If it was haunted, someone would have torn it down a long time ago. Plus, it was for sale. You can't sell a haunted house as far as I know. Anyway, back to the dare. The rules were I could have a flashlight and my phone, but only for pictures and videos. If it showed any calls, I would lose the bet, and I had to stay awake, texting them, and only them, every hour or so to prove I was awake. I was ready. I had a flashlight and extra batteries. I made sure my phone was charged, and I grabbed a couple of bags of flaming hot Doritos and a couple of Red Bulls. They frisked me for a second phone. Then I entered the house through a broken board on a back window. It was dark, really dark, and it smelled really bad, like urine and old rotted wood. There were things moving on the floor and walls, but I couldn't see them. I turned on my flashlight, only to see a horde of cockroaches run for cover. The light illuminated graffiti all over the walls. Mostly things like, "You're going to die here," "Satan lives here," "Get out while you can," and a crapload of vulgar stuff that can't be put in this podcast. I was expecting old mattresses, needles, and other drug paraphernalia on the ground, but there was nothing. I have been in abandoned houses before, and usually there was that type of stuff. That was kind of strange to me. I walked further in. There was a hallway in front of me. A door to the right seemed to lead to a room with 3 broken windows that made a round bulge. They were boarded up, like all the windows. I figured that was the living room. Nothing crazy happened there. I would hang out there when things got weird. but it really didn't help much. It was long, and the door behind it came out behind the stairs. There was a door to the right that opened up under the stairs. It led to the basement. The stairs down were collapsed and rotting at the bottom. That area connected to the hallway, to the front of the house. 2 more doors came off the other side of the hallway. One I knew from when I came in went to a room that would be an empty room that could be like maybe another place to put a TV or maybe a dining room. But the other one, closer to me, was definitely the kitchen. I could see the reflection of the dark polished wood cabinets from the flashlight beam. I took a deep breath and walked in. Nothing happened. I didn't know what I expected. There was a bathroom off the kitchen. Nothing there either. I walked into the empty room towards the front. Nothing. It was time to go up the stairs. I figured the stairs were safe, because ghost hunters were up there just the year before. Still, I took them slowly and tested each step. When I reached the top step, I sat for a while and rested. It was only 9:25 p.m. It was going to be a long night. I hung out and played Call of Duty. They never said I couldn't hit the web. At 9:30 p.m., I made my check-in call, then sat and played until the next call-in at 10 p.m., and so on until 11 p.m. Then I decided I was getting bored and my butt was getting sore sitting on the old hard step. Time to get up and check out the bedrooms. When I got up, my legs were stiff from sitting, so I took a minute to stretch. That's when I heard the first sound. It was kind of a squeaky, high-pitched sound. I figured maybe the steps made the sound when I got up, but it seemed to come from upstairs, and it was really loud. I got up on the landing and started to walk down the hallway. There was a bathroom at the end of the hallway. The door was opened, and I kid you not, there was an old shower curtain up, blocking the view of the tub. No flippin' way, I mumbled to myself, trying not to think about what could be behind the shower curtain. I thought about every horror film I've ever seen about a tub with a shower curtain in a haunted house, and I knew, just like every other stupid kid on Halloween, sooner or later I'll be forced by some unknown power to pull it back, only to discover the terror of a maniac with a blood-soaked knife. The high-pitched sound came again. This time it was less a squeak and more a screech, more a sound like a cat being attacked or something like that. Okay, that's it, I figured. It's a cat, just a cat. Trying to reason with my nerves, I went into the room so I could prove to myself it was just a cat. I pushed open the door. It had no knob, so it was just a push, and it was open. As soon as it started to open, the cat's screeching changed. I swear it sounded like a baby, screaming. And really loud, too. It freaked me out, and I tried to stop the door from opening all the way. But it was too late. The door flew open and hit the inner wall. Then everything was silent. I turned and started back for the stairs. I was getting out of the house. But I stopped. I remembered the bet. What an idiot, I said out loud and stamped my foot. I should be recording this for my TikTok. It was just about call-in time, so I called in a bit early and told the guys what happened. I sat at the top of the stairs again, this time to make a plan of how I was going to document my night. I shouldn't have bothered. Turns out I didn't have a choice. I had just started scrolling my phone when I felt something touching the top of my head, like very soft. I thought a bug landed on me, a spider maybe. I shook my head and went to brush it off when something I couldn't see, an invisible hand, grabbed my wrist and shook my arm. It was crushing my wrist so tight my fingers felt fat, then numb. I was screaming, "Let me go! Let me go!" Then, as quickly as it grabbed me, it let me go. I fell and rolled down a few steps before I was able to put my arms out and stop myself. When I got to my feet, I ran for the door. But before I reached the door, there was a pale, kind of almost see-through man standing in front of me. I can only imagine it was a ghost, because he didn't look quite right. In fact, as he became more solid, I could see he had a huge hole in the side of his head, and this pink and red mushy crap was hanging and dripping out of it, which I figured were his brains. His eyes were sunk in, and his sockets were almost empty. The skin on his face, where he still had skin, was a blue-gray, and he looked really bad. I was frozen with fear. I wanted to get around it and get out the door, but I was beyond terrified and paralyzed. I kept telling myself, I was just looking at some zombie movie. It's not real. The mouth on this guy started to move a few times. Then it talked. "Why is it every Halloween, the night my evil sons walk the house, one of you stupid kids comes here and tempts death? You will die here. This place is hell. My sons are evil. They will kill you. Run while you still can. Run while you still have blood in your veins to bleed." Then he added, "Go. They're coming." When he disappeared, it hit me. The way he came and went like that, never quite solid. My friend Quinn's dad has one of those projectors that can do that. This was all a setup. They played me. "All right, guys, this is too much," I said. "I know what you're doing, and I'm not falling for it. Where are you, huh? You might as well come out. I know that zombie guy was a fake. That wasn't even a good fake. Wouldn't even fool my kid's sister," I laughed. Mr. Zombie Dad's spooky warning, the old cliche, "Run, they're coming to get you." Bruh! I've seen things like that before. Tell me how you did it. There was no reply, only silence. "Game's up, guys." Nothing. "Guys?" Then the baby crying sound started again. "I'm out of here. You guys are jerks, and I'm not wearing that stupid t-shirt," I shouted. That's when it happened. They came. The place went ice cold. I could see my breath in front of my face. It got so incredibly cold so fast, I started to shiver. My flashlight flew out of my hand, but at the same time, the room lit up as if the lights worked. That's when I saw there was some old construction stuff against the walls. Like someone, at one time in the past, was remodeling the place, but decided better of it. There were paint cans, rollers, hammers, wallboards, nails, and a whole bunch of other stuff. "Hello? Anyone around?" I asked sheepishly, knowing or hoping no one would reply. "Who turned on the lights?" I again turned towards the door to leave. That's when the remodeling stuff started to fly around the room. I'm not lying. It was horrifying. I almost wet my pants. I probably would have if I weren't running so fast. Pieces of wood and nails were flying at me. A large nail hit me in the back of my head. A paint bucket flew out of nowhere and hit the ground in front of me. Its lid went flying, and the wet paint almost made me slip and fall. A claw hammer flew by my head like a tomahawk, barely missing me and embedded in the floor. I made it to the door and flung it open. A hand grabbed my arm and pulled me toward it. I screamed and started to kick out wildly. "Hey kid, relax," the voice said. "You're safe." I looked around and realized I was being held by some guy. Some human living guy. Some guy I think was like my grandfather's age at least. I worked on catching my breath. "Don't go in there. I swear to God, it's really haunted," I tried to explain. "I'm not making it up." "Yeah, I know," he said. "It happens every anniversary of the killings of the family every year. And every year, someone or group of people goes in there ghost hunting and finds themselves in trouble. That's why I'm here now. I was about to go inside when I saw the door open and you run out." He looked past me. "Anyone else in there?" "No, just me," I said. "Good. Let's keep it that way," he replied with a stiff tone. He sat on the front stoop and took out a Bible and started reading. The more he read, the louder the screams and bangs got inside the house. Even the doors and windows banged. By about 5 a.m. in the morning, all the sounds were gone. The guy closed his Bible and said, "They'll sleep for another year. I advise you not to come back. They know you now. You could wake them up before it's their time." Then he just walked away. At 6 a.m. on the dot, my friends showed up and I told them what happened. I showed them the paint on my shoes and played them my recordings. I even showed them where the nail hit me on the back of my neck. It was still there, not deep, but just enough to stick into my skin. No one knows why they never tore down the old place, or it never burned to the ground, as a lot of old places have. It still stands to this day, and it has a new for sale sign on it as a fixer-upper. I wonder if an exorcist is included. People say Halloween is just a holiday where kids get dressed up in costumes and go door to door for candy. I know a place where Halloween is a house of death. I would tell you where it is, but I don't want to be responsible if you go there. I have no doubt demons are real, and John Bailey and his brother Stephen were demons, and they still are, and they're there, waiting to kill some more. Happy Halloween. Hope you have a safe one, free from demons. Sleep tight. So, dear listeners, what do you think of this week's episode of The Haunted Bailey House? Truly horrifying, isn't it? Not all scary stories have happy endings, but here at the Spooky Coop, at the end of every episode, we always wish you all, every one of you, an amazing week full of hope and wonder. Happy Halloween. Be safe. Be happy. Until next time, when we see you in the Spooky Coop.